So now there's the good part, right? We're gonna get into the red dragon and prove who the red dragon is according to scriptures with scriptures, right? According to the precepts, according to a whole bunch of testimonies in the prophets, and we're gonna break down who the red dragon is emphatically, right? So let's start with that. So the Greco-Roman Empire is Edom, right? The Greco-Roman Empire is the serpent in Revelation 12. And we're going to show you that emphatically, right? Can somebody read Revelation 12 and 9?
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 12 and verse 9. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him.
So there's three things you got to understand to prove that who this dragon is, right? You got to show that this dragon is associated with the serpent contextually in the scriptures. You would have to show that this dragon was called the devil. It's not saying he will be called. He's called the devil. So somebody called him the devil before. So you would have to prove contextually in scriptures who was called the devil. And then he was also called Satan. So who fits all three of these qualifications, right? And then did they go out and deceive the world? Because if you can prove all three, then you understand who this dragon is, right? So let's prove that. Next slide. So let's understand who the serpent is according to scriptures, and we're going to start proving that, right? We understand that the Romans killed the Messiah. They're the ones that crucified him. They're the ones that put the nail through his heels. They're the ones that put the nails in his hands, and they're the ones that pierced him with the spear, right? They're the ones that put the crowny thorn on his head. It was the Romans that did this, the Roman soldiers, and that gospel testifies to this. And people teach that the Jews killed them. The Jews offered him up the way the scriptures prophesied they would as a sacrifice. But the Romans had nothing to do with this. They had no stake in it but to do some wickedness to the only thing that didn't warrant any type of wickedness to happen upon him. There's just the wicked beast that was prophesied to come, and we're going to prove that, right? There's that serpent. Genesis 3 and 14.
Genesis 3 and 14 and 15. And the Lord God said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle, and above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shalt thou go, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. And I will put...
Something to notice on this verse, right? It can't be a curse for a serpent that slides on his belly to slide on his belly. That's illogical. They already slide on their stomach. How is it a curse for a serpent to slide on his stomach? This is symbolic. This is not a serpent. It's a person. If I say, oh, he snitched on me, right? Or he can't be trusted. He's a snake. He's a rat. I'm not saying he's digging through your trash at night. I'm calling him a snitch, a rat. If I say, oh, you're eating like a pig, I'm saying you're eating in a disgusting manner. There's different ways that people could be associated with an animal, but doesn't mean they're actually an animal. So this serpent is a man. Snakes don't talk. But if somebody talks very deceitfully with their tongue, like a slithering serpent, then you would want to call them a serpent, a snake. And this is the symbology that you have to understand when reading Genesis chapter 3. So let's keep reading. Verse 15.
Verse 15, God. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel.
So the serpent is going to bruise the heel of the seed. So let's see, and we understand this chosen seed from this woman is Yahweh Shai, the Messiah, right? So let's see, who bruised his heel? Now, I'll ask you a question. Did the Romans bruise the Messiah's heel when they put a nail through it? Absolutely. This is that serpent that bruised his heel. And that's the testimony in proving it, right? So let's keep reading in Isaiah 27.
Isaiah 27 and verse 1. In that day, the Lord with his sword, a great and strong sword, shall punish Leviathan, the piercing serpent, even Leviathan, that crooked serpent, and he shall slay the dragon that is in the sea.
So when you understand the piercing serpent, it's talking about who pierced the Messiah, that serpent we're talking about. And as you can see, the Romans pierced the Messiah. That's that piercing serpent in Isaiah 27, that crooked serpent. Can we jump down to Philippians 2:15?
Philippians chapter 2 and verse 15, that ye may be blameless and harmless, the sons of God without rebuke, in the midst of a crooked and perverse nation, among whom
Crooked serpent.
ye shine as lights in the world.
This is that crooked serpent, and there's the lights of the world, the lights of the heavens, right? The stars of heaven. The children of Israel is being talked about here. But that crooked serpent, he's writing to the church of Philippi, a province in Greece. So he's saying you're in the midst of a crooked and perverse nation. You're in the midst of the Grecians, the Satan, the devil the Bible spoke of. And we're going to further prove that, right? So now that we understand who pierced the Messiah's heel, right? It was definitely the Romans. Who pierced the side? It was definitely the Romans. Now let's get John 19 and 34.
John 19 and 34. But one of the soldiers with a spear pierced his side, and forthwith came there out blood and water.
This is the piercing serpent, and this is the confirmation of that piercing serpent. Mark 15 and 24. And this is the Mark 15 20 is out of the Passion Translation, right? They articulate it very accurately. Other version would just say crucifixion, but they articulated what a crucifixion is, right? So let's read.
John, so like at Mark 15 and 24, they nailed his hands and feet to the cross. The soldiers
They bruised his heel. This is how they bruised his heel. No, you're good, Cap. This is how they bruised his heel. Understand that. The serpent was prophesied to bruise his heel, and the only one that bruised his heel, according to scriptures, were the Romans. So they are the serpent spoken of. And we're going to prove how this Greco-Roman serpent descend from the children of Esau in just a moment. But let's keep reading.
And his feet to the cross, the soldiers divided his clothing among themselves by rolling dice, and to see who would win them.
So let me go to the next slide. But now you understand that piercing serpent, the one that was going to bruise his heel, there's only one group of people that matched that up. The Greco-Roman Empire, right? The Edomites, after they changed the name to the Greco-Romans. So let's keep reading.
This is Ezekiel chapter 29 and verse 3. Speak and say, thus saith the Lord God, behold, I am against thee, Pharaoh, king of Egypt, the great dragon.
So whoever is the king of Egypt is synonymous with the great dragon. When you read Revelations, right? We're going to get that with the next precept. It tells you that there's a spiritual Egypt. So there's a spiritual Pharaoh. And that means there's a spiritual dragon of this new Egypt. And let's get that with Revelations 11 and 8.
Revelation 11 and 8. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified.
So the spiritual city, right? Sodom and Egypt, there's a spiritual dragon then. If the king, and whoever the king, the head of this modern day Egypt is, that is the dragon. So let's keep reading.
Deuteronomy 28 and 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
The spiritual Egypt that we're in today. Keep reading.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
No man shall buy you or redeem you. We all understand who this is talking about and where this is talking about. The spiritual Egypt where the dragon reigns. Let's keep reading.
Exodus 14 and 13. And Moses said unto the people, fear not, stand still, and see the salvation of the Lord, which he shall show to you today. For the Egyptians whom ye have seen today, ye shall see them again no more forever.
So when they talk about a spiritual Egypt in the in scriptures, when you read about in Deuteronomy 28:68, and there's another Egypt, it's not talking about that Egypt, because Moses just said these Egyptians, you will never see them again. Let's read Deuteronomy 17 and 16.
Deuteronomy chapter 17 and verse 16. But he shall not multiply horses to himself, nor cause the people to return to Egypt, to the end that he should multiply horses. For as much as the Lord has said unto you, ye shall henceforth return no more that way.
So this Egypt in Deuteronomy 28:68 is not the same Egypt, because we were told we would never go back that way. This is a spiritual Egypt where the dragon reigns, and this is the how you understand who was called the dragon, right? And who was called the serpent. So now let's get into who's called the devil and Satan. Let's keep going. So again, this spiritual Sodom, spiritual Egypt is Babylon the Great, right? Is where all the wickedness of the former empires of the world is accumulating, right? It's congregating in one particular landmass, and it's here in Babylon the Great, where they call America, right? Or the North America. It's also a worldwide system of these Edomites, right? But the great city of Babylon is right here. So let's read.
Jeremiah 51 and 34. Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had devoured me. He hath crushed me. He hath made me an empty vessel. He hath swallowed me up like a dragon. He hath filled his belly with my delicates. He hath cast me out.
So showing that the kings of the world could be called a dragon. The king of Egypt was called a dragon. The king of Babylon was called a dragon. But this is a spiritual Egypt and a spiritual Babylon. So this is definitely a dragon. So let's keep reading.
Revelation 16 and verse 19. And the great city was divided into three parts, and the cities of the nations fell. And great Babylon came in remembrance before the Lord, to give unto her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath.
So remember, Babylon came into remembrance before God, right? So let's see what he thought about prior to that came to his memory, right? I'll read this one, Cap. Jeremiah 49 and 10. Pretty much through 20. There's a few verses missing. I'm just touching the key points, right? But I encourage everybody to read all these chapters. But I have made Esau bare, and I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. Meaning, we're revealing him today. He's not going to be able to hide anymore. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. Leave thy fatherless children, I'll preserve them alive, and let thy widows trust in me. Verse 12, for thus saith the Lord, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have surely drunken. So we weren't supposed to drink of God's judgment, but we surely drank of that, right? And art thou he shall go altogether unpunished. Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it. For I have sworn by myself, saith the Lord, that Basra, this is the capital of Edom, Basra, shall become a desolation. So when the Bible says Basra, it's talking about the leadership of Edom. When it says Jerusalem, it's talking about the leadership of Jerusalem, right? That Basra shall become a desolate and a reproach, a waste and a curse, and all the cities thereof shall be perpetual waste. Verse 16, thy terribleness have deceived thee, and the pride of thy heart, O thou that dwellest in the cliffs of the rocks, the caveman, right? Thou holdest the height of the hills, though thou shouldest make thy nest as high as the eagles, because they love to hold the eagle up, right? The Roman symbol was the eagle. The Grecian symbol was the eagle. The American symbol is the eagle. The Spanish has the eagle. The Nazis had the eagle. The Germans had the eagle. There's a worldwide symbol they love to use, these people. I will bring thee down from thence, saith the Lord. Also, Edom shall be a desolation. Everyone that goeth by it shall be astonished and shall hiss at all the plagues thereof. Verse 18. And in the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah, so like we were showing earlier, right? This later spiritual Babylon is synonymous with the spiritual Sodom, the spiritual Egypt. It literally, the same way ancient Babylon wanted to get all the nations in the world under one umbrella, this is the same thing they're trying to do, and they accomplished it, and they will be destroyed at the end of days, right? 18 from the top. And is in the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighbors thereof, saith the Lord, no man shall abide there, neither shall a son of man dwell in it. Verse 20. Therefore, hear the counsel of the Lord that he hath taken against Edom, the Romans, the Greco-Roman Empire, and their descendants today, and his purpose that he hath promised against the inhabitants of Teman. And we're going to prove who the Temanites are. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he make their habitations desolate with them. So there's the prophecy that he was going to remind them to drink of that wine glass, right? When you read in verse 12, when it says, but surely thou shalt drink of it, there's the cup that he remembered, like, oh, I'm going to make you drink this cup, Edom. And we're going to see how the Temanites are the Edomites throughout history, right? So let's go to the next. So Psalms, does somebody read 137 and 70, Psalms 137, 7 to 8?
All right, this is Book of Psalms, chapter 137, verse 7 and 8. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even unto the foundation thereof. O daughter of Babylon, who art thou, so like who art to be destroyed? Happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us.
So again, showing that Edom became the new Babylon, right? And we're going to show and prove it through scripture. This is from, let me see if I got my sword here. Defender Study Bible, right? There's that little snippet from page Revelations 2 and 13. This is from Dr. Henry Morris, right? A Christian apologist at that, right? But let's see what he exposes here. In Revelations 2 and 3 in the commentaries, it says, Satan's seat. Could somebody read that actually? Let's read Revelations 2 and 13. I'm going to read the verse and then read the commentary.
You said 2 and 13?
Revelations 2 and 13.
All right. This is the book of Revelations, chapter 2 and verse 13. And it reads, I know thy works and where thou dwellest. Even
can we start from verse 12 for context?
Verse 12. And to the angel of the church of Pergamos write.
So remember, subject matter is the letter to Pergamos, right? So keep this in mind. This is Yahushua speaking, red letters to the church at Pergamos. So let's see what Yahushua says. Read.
These things which saith, which he saith, that hath the sharp sword with two edges. I know thy works and where thou dwellest, even where Satan's seat is. So
Yahushua is saying Satan's seat is at Pergamos, according to Yahushua. So let's keep reading.
And thou holdest fast my name, and hast not denied my faith, even in those days wherein Antipas was my faithful martyr, who was slain among you, where Satan dwelleth.
God. So again, right, it's showing Yahushua is saying Satan dwells in Pergamos. So who is this Satan that's at Pergamos? Where's Satan's seat at Pergamos, right? So let's read the commentary for Revelations 2 and 13. Satan's seat. Satan's seat is literally Satan's throne. This may be in reference to the great altar of Zeus that's at Pergamos, the god of the Grecians, the god of Satan and the devil. But there is also some evidence that the priesthood of Babylonian idolatry had moved to Pergamos when Babylon fell to the Persians. And this is how the Romans and the Grecians became the spiritual Babylon. When the Babylonian priesthood went into these Grecian provinces of Pergamos, they taught the Grecians and the Romans everything of Babylon. And they became spiritually Babylon the Great, starting from here. And this is a biblical scholar. That's not us saying this. He's saying that Satan's seat was at that great altar of Zeus at Pergamos. So he's called Yahushua is calling Zeus Satan. So if Yahushua is calling the god of the Grecians Satan, who are Satan's messengers? The Grecian people, the Roman people, the Greco-Roman Empire, and their descendants today. So let's read that last verse on the bottom.
Revelation 17:5. Is that what you're wanting?
Khan.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 17 and verse 5. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth.
So now, since the Old Testament, this was the daughter of Babylon. By the time of the New Testament and Revelations, she became a whore. And she grew up. She became the whore of Babylon instead of the daughter of Babylon. She was young when the Babylonians started teaching her the paganism. But as she got older, she started spreading her paganisms and her whoredoms around the world until this day. And that's why people practice Christmas and Easter and all these Babylonian holidays, because of these devils. So let's go to the next slide. You there, Cap?
I believe he might have stepped away.
Let me see if I could share minds.
Salakia, give me a second.
Okay.
Oh man, what the hell? Okay, there we go. Salakia.
No worries, man.
All right.
So Pergamon, right? Or Pergamos, right? Pergamon or Pergam, also referred to by its modern Grecian form Pergamos, which was a rich, powerful ancient Greek city in Masaya. It is located 26 kilometers from the modern coastline of the Aegean Sea. And I want you to remember that word Aegean Sea, because we're going to touch on that later, right? But it's just showing that Pergamos is in the province of Grecians, right? So the people that dwell amongst Satan are the Grecians. The people that dwell among Zeus is the Grecians. And the way Satan taught you guys to worship him, especially my Northern Kingdom brothers, is to say Jesus, because you're really crying out to Zeus. And this is how he tricked us into worshiping him. You even call out to him when his name is Yahushua. So let's keep reading. Next slide. The altar at Pergamos, right? I'm gonna read just a highlighted portion everybody can see on the bottom, right? You can pause it, read it at your own leisure if you like. But it's showing that at Pergamos, right, they took artifacts from Babylon, ancient Babylon, and brought it to Pergamos and rebuilt it in Pergamos, the same place that Yahushua just called Satan's seat. They brought all the pagan shit from Babylon the Great and set it back up at Pergamos, the same place Yahushua just called Satan's seat, Satan's throne, right? I'm gonna read the highlighted portion. This new museum is open to the public on the island, despite the fact that the new museum was home to a variety of collections beyond the friezes. For example, the famous reconstruction of the Ishtar Gate of Babylon. The Ishtar Gate is if you ever see, it's like a blue big gate that was the entry gate to Babylon, right? It'll be blue. You'll see like golden pictures of like lions on it. They brought this to Pergamos though. Why would the Babylonians bring Babylonian artifacts and the entry to Babylon the Great to Pergamos? And then why did Yahushua call them out? because he understand that they were merging with Babylon. They were becoming one and the same, and that's how they became Babylon the Great, this great dragon, right? So let's go to the next slide. And this is Satan right here. It's funny how George Washington tried to mimic Satan's seat in Pergamos, right? But there's the great altar of Zeus that they used to have there, that they would come, and there's the biggest altar that they've ever built in the world, and they built it to this pagan deity, which Yahweh calls Satan. And there's just a picture of what we're talking about, right? In ancient times, it would look something to this effect. But let's keep going. So now, let's deal with the Temanite, right? How is the Temanite the Grecian today? And we're going to prove this. The Temanites, according to this definition, Teman, Eliphaz, the chief spokesman of the three, was from Teman, ancient city later prominent among the Edomites, who eventually took over that whole region, right? So the Temanites, according to the genealogy of Esau in Genesis, you'll see that the Temanites are Edomites. They're sons of Esau, right? So let's continue. And they become the Macedonians and the Grecians today, and we're going to prove that. Before you click over it, the picture to your right, is showing the depiction of how the ancient Macedonians would have looked, the Caucasians, right? And it's also associated with ancient Greece, right? So understand the Macedonians become the Grecians. So let's go to the next slide. So this is you can look this up on Wikipedia. Temenes are the Temenid Empire, right? In Greek mythology, Temenes, he's supposed to be like if I'm not mistaken, like a son of Hercules or something, right? But they're just showing you who the Temenids, the Temenids are, right? And when you read the second paragraph here, Temenus was the great grandson of Hercules and helped lead the fifth and final attack on Mycenae in the Peloponnese. He became king of Argos. He was the father of a whole bunch of pagans, right? We'll keep on. Coronis was the first king of ancient Greece, the kingdom of Macedonia, and the founder of the royal Macedonian dynasty. The Temenid or Archaea Dynasty, which we just read, right? In the previous slide, the Archaeid Sea, right? Which accumulated in the sons of Alexander the Great 5 centuries later. So it's shown that the Temenids become the Grecians, right? So let's continue.
Right. And I mean, that's undeniable truth, linking that with the Bible and history. I mean, there's no getting around that.
All right. So the Archaea Dynasty, right? If you want to look up, the Archaean Sea is right outside the coast of Greece and Italy. That's their sea, right? Dedicated to this. Where we at? The Archaea Dynasty was an ancient Macedonian royal house of Dorian Greek province, right? So it's showing the Archaean and the Grecians are one and the same, right? And they go to the Macedonians, right? When you look at their parent house under that sun symbol to the right, they'll say House of Argos. You'll see the sun. It'll say the parent house, the Temenids, right? So that means they come from the Temanites. So we'll continue. Next slide. So now the Macedonians, right? Where was it at? The Macedonians, as we showed in the other previous two slides, they descend from the Temenids and the Archaeans, right? This is where you get Alexander the Great from. He's Alexander the Great of Macedonia. So this is showing you, historically speaking, how the Temanites descended through history, became the Archaeans, became the Macedonians, became all these other empires, later became the Greco-Roman Empire, and then the empires we have today that have the children of Israel in captivity, called the Europeans or Caucasians, what they like to call themselves today, right? So let's continue. Somebody read First Maccabees 1:1. So remember the Macedonians and Alexander the Great, right? Who his children like to call him great, but he's Alexander the Macedonian, right? So somebody read 1:1.
This is the book of First Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 1. And it happened, after that, Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Edom, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes.
God. So when you deal with the land of Chittim in the Bible, it's referring to the Romans. So it's showing this one verse, the Romans, the Macedonians, and Alexander the Great all together, right? And Shalom, Sasi Kumar. The brother's right. Babylon the Great is the Edomites. Wherever they rule and reign, it's them, right? But the great whore and the great city is North America. That's the great city. That's the great whore. But Babylon the Great is a worldwide empire. Babylon the Great, the spiritual Babylon, is Edom today. This is what they changed their name to spiritually. In the eyes of the Most High, they become equivalent to the Babylonians, but they're worse because they're the Edomites as well, right? Um, Finish that verse, King.
That he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece.
So now that we understand biblically and how to tie the Temanites through history and back to the Bible, right? So let's keep going.
This is the book of First Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 9. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves.
So after the death of Alexander the Great, his 4 generals put crowns upon themselves, right? Notice the picture to your right, that dragon with crowns on him, right? So let's keep reading.
So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. And there came out of them a wicked root.
A wicked root, right? A family tree, a wicked one. Keep reading.
Verse 10. Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been an hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks.
So again, right, showing the Greeks, the Temanids, the Archaeans, same people, right? Keep going.
Verse 22. And the table of the showbread, and the pouring vessels, and the vials, and the censers of gold, and the veil, and the crown, and the golden ornaments that were before the temple, all which he pulled off.
Right. So this is again showing that this same dragon has a tendency of stealing people's crowns, right? So let's read this last verse.
Verse 36. For it was a place to lie in wait against the sanctuary, and an evil adversary to Israel.
So we're gonna do a deep dive into this word adversary, right? Because understand, it just called the Grecians an adversary to Israel. Once you understand the Hebrew word for adversary, you will understand that this is who the Bible called Satan, right? So let's go to the next slide. So Revelations 12 and 9 to remind everybody, right? And the great dragon that was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the world, he was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him, right? So we have to understand the Hebrew word for devil. It's the word Said, right? Sounds like the word Mount Seir, right? They're one and the same. To say Mount Seir is to say mountain of the devils. To say devil in Hebrew is Seir. So let's read this verse real quick. Second Chronicles 11 and 15 in the blue letter. And he ordained him priest for the high places and for the devils and for the calves which he had made. So again, we have to understand the Hebrew word for devil, right? To your right, you see the definition of that word. It gets translated to goat, devil, satyr, hairy, rough, and kid. The first definition is hairy, and the second definition is he-goat buck as a sacrificial animal, because you will read when they're referencing a male goat, right? They talk about Said, right? The sacrificial goat. But then when you want to say wicked, when you apply it to a man, you're saying he's wicked and he's an evil demon, right? So that's the word satyr, and it says it may refer to a demon-possessed goat like the swine of Gadara, right? Which is in the New Testament. But what is really showing is that this is associated with it's a wicked term. That's why it gets translated to devil. So let's see who was called the devil in the Old Testament. Next slide.
He's Salakia. That I really hope that Yasharala is paying attention to what this word. I mean, not only that, but the spiritual meaning behind this Sair.
Right.
I mean, the word itself, meaning devil, sounding just like Mount Seir, you know, which is what the capital of Edom.
Mountain of Edom,
So, you know, this is all connected. This is all spiritual. I mean, look, we have hairy, we have goat, right? And then what else we have? Like swine. Everything contrary, right? Everything, you know, you know, you have the sheep, you have the goats, you have the clean, you have unclean, you have the right side, you have the left side, you have sons of God, you have sons of the devil.
Right.
I mean, y'all need to. I mean, he who has an ear, let him hear. Y'all need to see and understand that this is all spiritual, right? And includes in your salvation as well. But Salakia King, let's continue, man. This is beautiful.
No, but even piggyback on what you're saying, right? When Yahweh says, "I will separate the
land
sheep
back,
from
land
the
back,
goats,"
no piggyback.
land back. I will separate the sheep from the goats. I will separate the Israelites from the non-Israelites. So now we're gonna see how that word Sair is used in the Bible, right? Somebody read Genesis 27.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 27 and verse 11. And Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, "Behold, Esau my brother is a hairy man, and I am
Esau,
a small
my
man."
brother. Esau, my brother, is a side-eared, or it could get translated to he-go, or he could be saying Esau, my brother, is the devil, and I'm a smooth man. That's the same word Said there, right? Leviticus 17:7, King.
This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 17, verse 7. And they shall no more offer their sacrifices unto devils, after whom they have gone a whoring. This shall be a statute forever unto them throughout their generations.
Keep going.
2 Chronicles chapter 11, verse 15. And he ordained him priest for the high places, and for the devils, and for the calves which he had made.
Yeah, your phone's breaking up a little bit, King. But we heard you.
Want me to read it again?
No, because that's the same verse from the previous slide. I'll just put it in here to get the continuity. Let me get Isaiah 13 though.
All right, this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 13 and verse 1.
So understand with this verse, this time Babylon the Great with the devil. And we're going to see that this time Babylon the Great with Sair. And Sair is Edom. So it's time Babylon with Edom in this verse. Let's read.
The burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see. Verse 21. But wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance.
So now we have to understand what a satyr is, right? Because it says satyr, but if you don't know what a satyr is, this is going to go over your head. Once you get a visual presentation what a satyr is, which I'm about to present to you, you'll understand that he's calling the Babylonians in the future, this spiritual Babylon that he's seeing being destroyed, devils, satyrs, right? So let's read this last verse.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 34, verse 14. The wild beasts of the desert shall also meet with the wild beasts of the island, and the satyr shall cry to his fellow. The screech owl also shall rest there, and find for herself a place of rest.
So again, right? Satyr, devil, right? So let's see what a satyr is. Let's go to the next slide. Because remember, it gets translated to devil, satyr, he-goat, and by lack of better words, a demon, right? This is that red demon that was getting translated to. This is the satyr, right? When you talk about a devil with pitchforks, a red devil with pitchforks that torments people in hell, it might look, I don't care who agrees with me, who doesn't, right? Hell to me is the land of the Hellenes. That Hellenistic period, that was hell. It was saying the Hellenistus for short. right? In my mind. Now, the brothers could agree with me, don't agree with me, that's fine, right? But in my understanding, hell is the land of the Hellenes. Hell is the land of the Grecians. We just call it hell for short. Now, this is why we depict him as a red devil. Because when we were in the Middle East, he didn't have suntan lotion back then. He didn't have no way to stay out the desert. So he was turning red, lobster red, like this. So this is why we associated the devil with being red. This is why we also associated the pitchfork with the devil, because the Grecians, their god that they always represent, Zeus and Poseidon, right, or Trident, however you want to call him, he always had that same pitchfork. So that's why the devil signs with that pitchfork, right? So when people say they make deals with the devil, who did they make deals with? If your favorite rapper made a deal with the devil, who did he normally sign to? A Jewish man? Some type of Edomite? He didn't sign to somebody that looked like him. And that's how he makes deals with the devil, right? So let's go to the next slide.
Hey, look at that pale bastard right there. Look at how pale he is. Look at that face. Jeez.
Red like a lobster.
Man. You gonna tell me
But
they were in Egypt making being
pyramids
in
and
Egypt,
cities
in that hot ass sun. I mean, this guy was
right.
flying the sun for 5 minutes. Look at him. You know? Jeez.
So now, remember, it says in Revelations 12 that was called the devil. So we just proved who was called the devil, right? We're going to further prove who was called the devil. Somebody read Daniel 8:19 and then Malachi 1:4.
All right, this is the book of Daniel, chapter 8 and verse 19. And he said, Behold, I will make thee know what shall be in the last end of the indignation. For at the time appointed, the end shall be.
So subject matter of Daniel 8, he's talking about end times indignation, right? Indignation is a righteous judgment, a righteous hatred, a righteous reaction or judgment against somebody, right? Indignation. So let's see, according to the Bible, who does God have an indignation for? Malachi 1:4.
This is the book of Malachi, chapter 1 and verse 4. Whereas Edom saith, We are impoverished, but will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, They shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever.
So these are the people that the Lord has this indignation for, right? And we just showed you how the Temanites are Edomites. The Temanites are Grecians, one and the same. They just keep changing their name, right? So let's continue to read Daniel chapter 8.
Book of Daniel, chapter 8, verse 21. And the rough goat is the king of Grecia, and the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king.
So when you read Revelations, it talks about a dragon with the great horn that spoke boastfully, right? It's literally comparing that to the Grecians right here. So when somebody says that's not talking about the Greco-Roman, they're lying and they never read Daniel, because Daniel's saying, and the rough goat or the devil is the king of Grecia. It's clear as day. They could have translated to rough goat, right? But it's the same word for devil to talk about a demon. So this is what they're talking about. This is what Daniel's talking about. He's calling this person the devil. So let's keep reading. Daniel 8 and 23.
Verse 23. And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up.
So it's talking about this will still be there in the latter times. And these times, these Grecians didn't go anywhere. They never got their judgment from the Most High, neither did the Romans. These Edomites been walking the earth like a fugitive, like a vagabond, right? Just like Cain. So let's go to the next slide.
Hey, by the way, yeah, devils eat pork because they are pork. They unclean.
So now, this is the devil in Daniel chapter 8, verse 21 we just read about. When you read the word satyr, it's this image to your right and to your left. These bottom two images, those are satyrs. So when Daniel's talking about a Seder, when Isaiah's talking about a Seder, that's what they're using. And that's the same thing for the Baphomet. The ones that Satanists worship. If you Google the term Satanist, you're only going to see a bunch of Edomites popping up. That's how you know who the children of Satan are. Just Google the term Satanist, and you see what pops up. This is what they worship because they understand that they're this goat. It's self-worship. This is a false image. This image has no power or no authority in this world. It is them teaching us to worship them, the goat, the satyr, the Grecian, and the Roman. So much so that those two coins on the top, right and left, if you see, that's Alexander the Great's coin, right? You can Google this, Alexander the Great coin. This is before Daniel 8:21 is before Alexander the Great. Daniel already called him a satyr, a he-goat. Why would this man go ahead and put horns on himself on his coin? That would be kept throughout all history because they understood, and the Bible was unveiling itself that he was this he-goat, that satyr, that devil with the horns that the Bible kept talking about, the king of Grecia, the satyr, the he-goat, because he understood from before he was even born, the prophecy was revealed to him. This Satan was revealed to him. So there's that satyr in 8:21.
Hey, Ak, and also, like when we look at these symbolisms, understand that the adversary will always mimic, you know, the what's in the light. You know, remember the scriptures say that we are the children of the light. Khan. So now all this, you know, with the goat and the 5-point star, that's all symbolism, and it's selfish and or admonishment to the to nature. So like the 5-point star, they would say that it's a admonishment of earth, wind, fire, and spirit, right? And they'll actually say, well, now what is the shield? The shield is what? How many points? 6. This is 5. What are we represented as? What? As sheep. What is this? Goat, right? If you look at the body, it's actually the body of a man and a woman. It has female breasts, right? And it has a male body part, right? And the wings, right? Then you got the moon. Anything that's adversary to the light is what this darkness or this representation gives. Now, they paint a nice picture here in Babylon to this, because, you know, here in Babylon, you can worship whatever you want. But they'll paint the picture and say, well, you know, this is, you know, not really bad. It's not really worshipped. But then again, in Washington, they created a big figure of this, and it's actually a actual religion. And when you go into it, you'll see that it's a religion that has been around for a very, very long time. Because what? We have adversaries, and through the years, what has happened is they took our book and just comprised a lot of the images and or stories from our records and painted it into a pagan face. That's why you have Caesar Borgia painted as our Messiah. He is the iconic figure, whitewashed. But this right here is obviously linked to who? To this is why we say they are the devil the Bible speaks of, because the Bible speaks of them being the devil. Devil meaning deceiver, devil meaning who deceived the whole world. So guess what? This is all in the scriptures. It's not us being you know, mean or prideful. This is what we have encountered, and we're showing it to its face and telling it what it is. The only problem is a lot of y'all just don't believe it. You know, you want to be asleep, but you know, here we are. This is undeniable, by the way. undeniable. You cannot get around this. I mean, this is again not only archaeological facts, but historically backed by the scriptures. You know, Alexander, the Macedonian, it was an Edomite, man, an Edomite. You know, I mean, even prophecy tells you that. So I don't know where brothers is getting that he was an Israelite, man. That is off as hell, man.
Bugged out, bugged out doctrines. When Daniel called them, you can't call him an Israelite when Daniel just called him the king of Grecia the devil. That doesn't make any sense. That's people, so brothers is going on. Long story short,
Yeah.
but
That's
let's
a lot here. Did y'all notice the name that was in the middle of the picture of that previous
no,
slide with the Baphomet? Look at the
no, what name?
coincidence. It says Eliphaz on the rock underneath the Baphomet.
God, God. Yeah, I didn't read that, but yeah, it is because they understand Eliphaz is a Temanite. They understand who they are. But they make sure we don't understand. So now we're teaching people what it is, so we all have the understanding and who the devil is. There's no more mystery, Babylon, any of that. The mystery has been revealed. It's this devil right here that we're looking at on the screen. So let's go to the next slide.
Come on.
Now, the scripture always said, the scripture also said in Revelation 12:9 that was called Satan, right? So let's see who was called Satan in the Bible. Because once you piece all these three together, who was called the serpent, who was called the dragon, who was called Satan, who was called the devil, there's only one people that keep checking all these boxes. So there's no getting around this. It's not nothing to hurt feelings. It's not something because we're being hateful. It's just contextual. And if you don't like the context, I don't know what to tell you, but it's what's in the Bible. So now, 1 Kings 11:14. And the Lord stirred up an adversary unto Solomon, Hadad the Edomite. He was the king seed of Edom, right? So if we understand that Satan has children, right, then those children are Satan as well. And when those children have children, those children are Satan as well, and so on and so forth. This is the bloodline of people. When you get to the word adversary, the Hebrew word H7854, this is how it reads, right? Adversary, one who withstands. Adversary, in general, personal or national. So there's a national adversary according to the definition. It's not just a person. Superhuman adversary, Satan as noun pronouns, right? But understand, nowhere in the definition do you see like a spiritual being. It's not talking about a spiritual Satan. It means a physical Satan, a person or a nation. This nation is the Edomites. That is the Satan according to the Bible. That's who the Bible called Satan verbatim. We're not making this up. We're reading in the Hebrew, we're reading in the Greek, and we understand what the scriptures are saying. And I will present it to you without a shadow of a doubt. Let's go to the next slide. So, why do we say the Romans are the Edomites, right? So let's take somebody that's not part of us, right? That doesn't believe what we believe, right? This is according to the Jewish Encyclopedia. So you can't just say this is us making this up, right? These are the fake Jews that we call out. Even they say the Romans are the Edomites, and we'll read. If you go to the Jewish Encyclopedia, the link's on the bottom of the PowerPoint. It'll show you what the link is if you want to fact check it yourself. But the name of Edom is used by the Talmudists, not just us, for the Roman Empire. And they applied to Rome every passage of the Bible referring to Edom or Esau. So this is not just us making this stuff up, right? You can read the rest of this if you like, right? It'll just keep digging into the fact. I don't agree with everything in this article, right? I'll give that disclaimer, but I do agree with the fact that they understand, as clear as day as we understand, that those fake Jewish people, they try to exclude themselves from it. They're part of this Edomite nation too. But them, the Romans, the Grecians, everybody who would self-identify as Caucasian through their father's seed lines, they're the children of Esau according to the scriptures, right? So let's go to the next slide. And if you see on the bottom of this name for Edom, right, talking about Rome, you see on the bottom it says see Teman. So it's showing that Teman, Esau, and Rome are all synonymous with one each other. That's why he's on the bottom of that page. So let's go to the next slide. God. So now we're going to compare two Hebrew words, right? We're going to compare the word Seir for devil and Seir for Edom, right? Or the land of Edom. If you look at the spelling on the Hebrew characters, right? They're literally the same exact spelling of the Hebrew characters. There's no difference between those two characters. Seir and Seir, they're one and the same. So when you say Mount Seir, you're saying the mountain of the devils or the mountain of the hairy people, right? So let's read Strong's H8165, Seir to the right. We covered the he-goat already. I'm just showing the comparison how Mount Seir and Edom is one and the same, right? And the devil and Seir is one and the same. Definition 1, Seir equal means hairy or shaggy. A, patriarch of the Horites, the inhabitants of Edom before the descendants of Esau, the Edomites. B, the land of Edom, south of the Dead Sea, a mountain range in Edom extending from the Dead Sea to the Atlantic Gulf, apparently also called Mount Seir, mountain of the devils, and extending most of the distance of the mountain range itself. A mountain range in northern Judah lying westward in the Kidron Jearim. So now that you understand that these two words are practically the same, they're spelled the same, they sound the same, and they're used back and forth. When you talk about Esau's wickedness, you're talking about the devil's wickedness. When you're talking about the devil's wickedness, you're talking about Esau's wickedness. When you're talking about, when Daniel in chapter 8 is talking about the king of Grecia, he's calling that Seir, or Mount Seir, the king of Mount Seir, the king of the Grecians. See, Edom didn't disappear out the Bible. They changed their name. These people have been really good at rebranding themselves throughout history. And every time they rebrand themselves, we forget who they are. And then they change our name and we forget who we are. And then we think we're niggers, Negroes, African Americans, Afro Americans, Black, every term under the sun. Because when they rebrand themselves, they have to brainwash us too. So none of us can remember, and they keep changing themselves throughout history. But the Bible called them out. There's certain things that they can't change about themselves. The Bible made sure of that. And if you understand the scriptures, who they are is just revealed to you, just clean as day. Let's go to the next slide. So let's see how you look at. Okay. So we're gonna see how seer is used in the Bible, right? Same word spelling, right? To say devil. And Jacob sent messengers before him unto Esau his brother, unto the land of Seir, or the land of the devils, the country of Edom. It's the same spelling. They apply it in different ways, but it's the same exact spelling, it's the same exact pronunciation, because to an Israelite, their greatest adversary is the nation of Edom. Their greatest Satan is the nation of Edom. So to say Edom and the devil is one and the same to an Israelite who has understanding. Genesis 33:16. So Esau returned that day on his way unto Seir. Same thing for devil. Genesis 36:8 and 9. Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir, the mountain of the devils. Esau is Edom, and these are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites, in Mount Seir. So if Esau is Satan and the devil, right, and the serpent, then his children are the devil, the serpent that the Bible spoke of. This is why the devil the Bible spoke of. It's not an emotional rant just to get at white people. It's contextual. They don't understand it because they've been blinded by the same lies that their fathers told us ignorantly. Some of them know about it, and they're pridefully Edomites. They don't care. They understand that the judgment is coming and they accept it. Some of them are blind and oblivious to what's coming. And the higher up ones, the dukes and duchess, they understand clear as day who we are and what they're doing and what's coming to happen. These are the ones calling the shots and calling and running this world. These are the people that are going to bring an end to our world. Let's read Genesis 36:30. So this is talking about the genealogy of Esau, right? The Duke Dishon, Duke Eser, Duke Dishon. These are the dukes that came from Hori among the dukes in the land of Seir, right? If you look to your right, the only people who call themselves dukes today are the Edomites still. And if you see right here, it says the Duke of Kent on the bottom, second to bottom line with the arrow, the lightning bolt going to him. That's the Duke of Kent. The next one was the Duke of Gloucester. So if you understand that these are dukes and duchesses to this day, this is what the Bible was talking about this whole time, these dukes and duchesses, right? Second Ezra chapter 6 and verse 9. Esau, these people are the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. These people are going to bring about the end of the world. And if you get a look at these people, you understand who the Edomites are. Let's go to the next slide. So some people like to say the Edomites were wiped away. They all died in the before Christ came on the scene, right? There's Herod, the one that tried to kill the Messiah in the New Testament. Herod, by name, Herod the Great, like his predecessors, his ancestors, Alexander the Great, right? Latin Herodes Magnus, born 73 BC and died March or April 4 BC in Jericho, Judea. Roman appointed king of Judea, who built many fortresses, aqueducts, theaters, and other public buildings, and generally raised the prosperity of his land, but who was the center of political and family intrigues in his later years. The New Testament portrays him as a tyrant, because the New Testament is telling you the truth that this Edomite was a tyrant. It's not painting him in a light that the Edomites try to paint themselves in. It's calling them out for what they are, into whose kingdom Jesus of Nazareth was born. So it's saying that at the time of Yahushua being born, right, that the Edomites are still on the scene. And according to Obadiah 1 and 18, the way that the Edomites will come to the end is by destruction, by the sword, under the hands of the children of Israel. So for you to say that the Edomites are no more, then you have to prove after the death, burial, and resurrection of the Messiah, after the New Testament, when did the Edomites go into extinction? Because according to scholars, Herod is an Edomite, and he's still there. And there's nothing in history, archaeology, science, or any type of biblical records that substantiate that the Edomites have been wiped out after the times of the Messiah. That's just not true. You would not be able to find that. Family and early life. Herod was born in southern Palestine after his father Antipater was an Edomite of a Semitic people, right? Showing that now the rest of this starts talking about Semitic people identified by some scholars as Arab, right? That I don't agree with, right? Who converted to Judaism in the 2nd century. Antipater was a man of great influence and wealth who increased both by marrying the daughter and noble from Petra. Petra is the capital of Edom again. The capital of Syria is Petra. So not only are the Edomites, they're going back to marry their own women, fellow Edomites, further proving that these are all Edomites, right? Next slide. So now, this is the judgment of end times, right? That's going to come upon the nation of Edom. There's no way that the Most High's word is going to come back void. It's just not going to happen. And this has not been fulfilled. And I'm going to read through it, and we're going to substantiate how this has not been fulfilled. Ezekiel chapter 35. Moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, the mountain of the devils, and prophesy against it, and say unto it, Thus saith the Lord God, Behold, Mount Seir, the mountain of devils, I am against thee, because God is against Satan, right? He's against the devil. And I will stretch out mine hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. And I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord. So he said, I shall do these things. It hasn't happened yet. Verse 5, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel. So their sin is a perpetual shedding of the children of Israel's blood. So if you find the children of Israel and you find the people killing them, you understand who the Edomites are, especially if they do it perpetually like they did here in America. By the force of the sword, in the time of the calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Verse 6, therefore, as I live, saith the Lord God, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. See if thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Thus I will make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from it that passeth out, and him that returneth. And I will fill his mountains with the slain men, and thy hills and in thy valleys. So this is the Most High prophesying what he's going to do to the Edomites in the future. This has not come to pass. So if this has to be fulfilled, there's no way they can get saved, because this has to come to pass. God's not going to break his laws and make himself a liar to spare anybody. He's the God of truth, and he's consistent. He does not change. So when he spoke this word, he meant this word. Where we at? Verse 7. Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from it that passeth out in the valleys, and in all thy rivers shall they fall that are slain with the sword. I will make thee perpetual desolations, and thy cities shall not return. And ye shall know that I am the Lord, because thou hast said, these two nations and these two countries shall be mine, the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. These two nations, these two countries, these two brothers, right? These two witnesses, they took us into captivity, and we will possess it, whereas the Lord was there. Therefore, as I live, saith Yahweh, as I live, saith the Lord God, I will even do according to thine anger and according to thy envy, which thou hast used out of thy hatred against them, for the hatred against us, the children of Israel. And I will make thyself known among them when I have judged thee. So he's going to judge the Edomites. And thou shalt know that I am the Lord, and that I have heard all thy blasphemies, which thou hast spoken against the mountain of Israel, saying, these are laid desolate. They are given unto us to consume, right? So when it talks about a horn, right, which we read in Daniel 8, that horn that spoke boastfully, blasphemies, it's the same horn here, the Edomites, right? That is going to have one particular king or ruler that's going to speak a lot more boastful than the other ones, a lot more proudly than the other ones. He's going to stand out. Verse 13. Thus your woman, thus with your mouth ye have boasted against me, and have multiplied your words against me. I have heard them. Thus saith the Lord God, when the whole earth rejoiceth, I will make thee desolate. So when the whole world is at peace, when Yahushua is rulers on the earth, he's promising to make the children of Edom desolate. He's not going to let them have rejoicing. He's not going to let them have peace with us. Verse 15, as thou did rejoice at the inheritance of the children of Israel, because it was desolate, so will I do unto thee. Thou shalt be desolate, O Mount Seir, and all Idumea, even all of it, and they shall know I am the Lord. Right? Cap, could you move that? That comment is blocking some of the readings, but but it's just showing that at the end time, this is the judgment of Mount Seir, the judgment of the Edomites, the judgments of the Temanites, the judgments of our Argidians, the judgment of Chittim, Rome, the Greco-Roman Empire, the people of Europe, the Caucasians, whatever they want to call themselves today. This is their judgment to all the Edomites. Let's go to the next slide. So if you receive from this presentation and you want to support our ministries, this is how you can support the work we do, the class we come out with, the outreach we do. We travel overseas to preach to anybody and everybody, and try to reach all the 12 tribes of Israel in every country that we can. But if you want to like, share, support the channel, our ministries, this is how you do it. You can submit whatever the Most High put in your heart to our Cash App, and we definitely appreciate it. Cat, you anything?
Yeah, I just want to say, even when we bring out these classes, it's extremely important for, you to be, and I say Yasharala to be, circumspect when it comes to doctrines that come out and try and confuse you. That's why you have to be grounded and, and serve in sincerity and in truth, because, there's a lot of doctors that are going to come out there and it's going to confuse brothers if you don't have a good foundation. And it starts with, sincerity and truth and faith in the Mashiach. So, this type of information is unrefutable, period. So, this is basically mic drop, so we, obviously we put a lot of time into these presentations. It's for your edification. Definitely support the ministry. We do serve Yahweh Shem Yahushai in sincerity and the truth. And, we hope that, this was edifying to, those who received it. So, that's all I got.
If there's any naysayers or scoffers or Christians, Catholics that want to have a discussion on this topic and go for point, we welcome all challenges. Let us know. We'll debate you on this topic. We presented our argument. Bring up a counter argument. We'll have a long, lengthy discussion about it, but you better be ready. And we will defend this doctrine to our last day, because this is the truth, and it is what it is. Whether you feel, whatever you feel about it.
Hey, look, man, you being humble, Archaea. We want the smoke, all right? You, if y'all want to bring
let them come. Let them come.
Is a look. There's even information that we haven't even brought out on this beat. And then
Yeah.
diverse this was, and on depth this was. But if y'all want the smoke, come and get the smoke straight up. You know, so
trust me, Cap. I got some blades hidden up my sleeve for somebody wanted to come and bring.
Yeah.
Smoke. Yeah, there's a lot of things I didn't put in this presentation. I could have gone for like 2, 3, 4 hours on this, but I want to bring out the meat and potatoes on it.
Most definitely, you know, and this was edifying. So, hey, man, that's all I got. You know, anything Archaea, anything Mahar?
No, I just want to give all praise, honor, and glory one more time to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakadash. And I hope Israel receive these revelations, man, and understand these prophecies moving forward. We're going to come out with more classes, more content, more PowerPoint presentations, breaking down the doctrine point for point, just like this.
Come on. All right, shalom.
All right, shalom.